70,000 is the number of times a wildfire happens in a single year in America. 90% of those fires are caused by humans' very careless acts such as leaving campfires unattended, even throwing lit cigarette butts. Texas, California, and Georgia are states with the highest number of wildfires each year. The economic loss from wildfires is estimated to be between $71.1 billion to $347.8 billion in 2016. On average, fires will kill 3% of tracked animals. This statistic rose to 7% for studies tracking animal survival through high-severity fires. Not all fires are the same. Some animals are good at surviving some type of fires. Now that's just animals. 400,000 humans are killed by wildfires in a year.
Many of the people vulnerable to wildfire are also vulnerable to the health and economic impacts from the coronavirus pandemic. The elderly, lower-income families, the disabled, and those who are Black, Indigenous, and people of color. So families who barely can sustain their families, mostly affected by the government. The smoke and ash from wildfires harms people who have heart disease. Communities that are mostly Black, Hispanic, or Native American experience 50% greater vulnerability to wildfires compared with other communities. Some quantitative data is shown in the graph with how in 2018 there is a great increase in fires and how big they are. This is shown how in 2018 about 140 acres are burned in California wildfires, and when compared to 1990, there are less than 80 acres burned. This shows how wildfires have increased over the years and are affecting climate change. Another way it is shown that wildfires affect climate change is in another graph. In 2020, throughout the months of August and September, there's more than double the pollution in the air due to wildfires, and that's just from 2020 and the previous year, 2019.
Small bush fire was pushing smoke into the 210 freeway and burning dangerously close to homes in Lakeview Terrace area. The fire was burning into 11400 block of Osborne Street across the Hanson Dam recreation area in the north and grew to 3 acres. The Los Angeles County Fire Department said climate strongly influences global wildfire activity, and recent wildfires signal fire weather. In this video, you can see how severe the wildfires were in Lakeview Terrace in 2017.
Contained the fire in about 2.5 hours.
It's coming, let's go.
In the Sepulveda Basin, smoke from a fire burning could be seen for miles. Flames scorched 4 acres near the 5600 block of Woodley Avenue. No structures were threatened, and crews acted quickly to stop the fire before it spread. A fire in Lakeview Terrace near the Hanson Dam Recreation Center burned dangerously close to homes. You can see the flames and thick black smoke right at the edge of the property, but thankfully crews kept the fire from reaching that structure.
Solutions that would help prevent wildfires from happening are not leaving campfires unattended. Don't throw lit cigarette butts on the ground, but the government can help build firefighters in forests and or alone areas.
Enough about wildfires. Now I'll be talking about how ocean acidification is the result of increased carbon dioxide being absorbed into the ocean. This change in the world impacts the ocean worldwide by making them more acidic. Worldwide, oceans absorb 1/3 of all excess carbon dioxide produced. In the picture, you can see the comparison of coral reef before and after it's been affected by ocean acidification. The ocean acidification graph states how in 2000 the pH went from 8 and started heading downwards, turning more acidic. But in previous times, like in 1850, it shows how the pH was at 8.2. Along with this, there has been an increased amount of dissolved carbon dioxide in the ocean. It has increased from 10% in the year 1850 to being expected to reach 22% in the year 2100.
Qualitative data is how the ocean acidification has affected people. For example, cities or countries that rely on seafood as a form of meals or even to sustain their economy are slowly being put in danger. This is because the more ocean acidification that there is, the harder time marine life have.
Ocean acidification is a result of increased carbon dioxide being absorbed into the ocean. This change impacts global oceans, making them more acidic. Worldwide oceans absorb 1/3 of all excess carbon dioxide. This can lead to a more acidic pH level and a dramatic shift in seawater carbonate shifts. Studies show that ocean water is way more acidic now than it was in previous pre-industrial times, and is predicted to reach levels that have not been seen in millions of years. This acidification will affect organisms that depend on calcium carbonate to build their skeletons and shells, such as corals, some species of phytoplankton, and bivalves. Measurements made over the last few decades have demonstrated that ocean carbon dioxide levels have risen in response to increased carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, leading to an increase of acidity.
We can end ocean acidification by trying to cut on our carbon pollution drastically and immediately. One way to do this is by converting to electric vehicles. Another way to cut our on our carbon pollution is when it comes to industries, you can use less harming chemicals and more recyclable products. One way we can contribute to this is to buy reusable water bottles and stop buying plastic water bottles. Our final solution is to reduce the amount of electricity we use. This is because industries that produce electricity cause lots of CO2 emissions, and one way to stop this is by turning off unused lights. That this will stop CO2 emissions in the atmosphere, which will then stop the amount of CO2 absorbed to the oceans. This will cause our ocean to be less acidic and will help restore our coral reefs. Our ocean should look like this. There is an end to an ocean acidification.